Joining us now to break down this Bitcoin spike is finance professor Laleh Samarbakhsh from the Toronto Metropolitan University. Professor, the timing of this jump seems strange as banks are failing in the U.S. Can you explain why this would happen now?
Sure. Thank you very much for having me on your program. What I would like to explain a little bit here is the effect of macroeconomic factors on the cryptocurrency markets, Bitcoin being the leading one. So what you see right now, it's not necessarily the result of just the bank failure news, but also the result of the CPI report that came out and the reports for inflation, particularly US inflation that came out yesterday. So what you see is a result of the tangled correlation between inflation news, the news of the SVB or Silicon Valley Bank failure, and also at the same time, a little bit of correction for what the cryptocurrency market was facing from last July. So the crash that you saw in last July was something that you would probably refer to as an overcorrection for the pricing that we were seeing. And what we see now, the jump that we see now suddenly in a 24-hour period, is part of it is to the correction that was due, but it was looking for a signal from the market or what we would call a news impact from the market.
Do you think Bitcoin will continue to rise? Is this a good time to buy? Is there even a way to predict how its value will change?
It's a very difficult question to answer, and certainly I won't give any certain answer to that. However, what I can tell you is that in general, a lot of pricing that you see in the market, both in the equity market, in the bonds market, and in the cryptocurrency market, if you look at them long term, then the corrections that you see are in fact just a small piece of the period of a long-term period that you're looking at. It's very hard to be able to ride these small rise and fall of the prices, but I do think that the cryptocurrency market is filling out a little bit of a gap in sentiment that the investors have towards the banking system. So a lot of what you're seeing is it might be a sentimental pricing or sentimental reaction of the investors recalling what happened in the crisis of 2008 and trying to, in this time, have a different direction or take a different step.
What do you foresee happening with the banking situation in the U.S. in the coming days? Do you think it will impact cryptocurrency?
That's a great question. I think that what we will see is going to be tighter monetary policy from the Feds and central bank in US. Originally, there were speculations of continuation of interest rate increase, but with what happened with the SVB and other US banks, I think the Fed is going to put a brake on the interest rates increase. Probably we're going to see a little bit of pause in the continuation of interest rate increases.
Thanks so much for joining us, Professor.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.